Welcome to our podcast. You're listening to Don't Worry by Ixon at www.ixonmusic.com. I'm Dr. Jody Marmon, licensed clinical psychologist in the state of California, and anything in this podcast is for psychoeducational or entertainment purposes only.
So you were against feminism even going into college?
Always. I always was like, I've always been a woman. My life's only been easier as a woman. I don't understand what all these women are crying and bitching about. And to your point about the women not really getting a legacy, I would say that women need to understand that you don't need a legacy like a man. Your legacy is your family and your family that you bring, that you raise, and your children. That's the legacy that women need to understand is important. You don't need to have a legacy like a man. Women need to stop trying to become men because they can't become men and they're only going to fail at it. And when they try to become men, they become OnlyFans whores, sell their bodies online, and guess what? One day you're going to get old, you're going to get wrinkly, you're going to become like an old miserable hag like Chelsea Handler and be childless, husbandless. You eventually will want a husband. You will. And one day you're not going to be able to have kids, and you're going to wish that maybe I didn't spend my whole life trying to be a boss babe, and maybe I should have just, done what society tells me not to do and got married and actually found a man. Like, serve your daddy husband and not your corporate boss. And that's how you'll be happy. That's your legacy.
I'm sorry. Can I say one thing?
Agree.
Welcome to Why Complain When You Can Whine? Making sense of the senseless. Three professional women attempting to make sense of toxic nonsense while drinking wine. And every time I watch that, I just get more and more needing a drink. And since we are day drinking today and it is brunch time, I am drinking a Secco grapefruit Pompolini. It's only got 8% alcohol, so I can drink the whole bottle theoretically.
Yeah. You can drink the whole bottle.
And before I say what glass I'm using, I want you guys to open your boxes.
Okay, are we doing intros first, or are we doing them as part of
your intro? Yeah, as part of the box.
Okay, hi, I'm Heather, licensed professional counselor, domestic violence survivor. And I'm not drinking wine today because it's Cinco de Mayo weekend, Cinco de Drinko, because we can't celebrate Cinco de Mayo with Ashley because her abuelito will disown her. So we're calling it fucking Cinco de Drinko. And I've got a margarita.
Ashley, you do your intro and then you guys open your boxes, please.
Okay.
I'm Ashley, single mom, domestic violence survivor, and founder of Loving Single and the community that we just opened this week.
Yay! And what's it called?
The Hot Mess Society. Tonight I'm just drinking out of just my regular glass, and since I'm still getting over COVID, I learned this the other day that alcohol is not good for my respiratory sinus stuff that's going on. So today I'm just having an Olipop.
Oh, what flavor?
It is tropical punch.
I have like a strawberries and cream one that I don't like.
Good. You don't like it? I love that one.
I don't like it.
So I was like, I'll drink it out of a wine glass because it's fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we unboxing?
Unbox, please.
Okay.
Because then I can show you what I have.
Jody got a present and we weren't allowed to open them. We weren't allowed to open them until we did the podcast. So
she wanted a moment.
I wanted a moment.
A little Momo.
Captured on video.
Momo.
Another box.
Okay, boxes.
Is this like that one video where there's a box inside a box?
A box in a box.
Until it's an engagement ring.
Yes, I'm out.
Are we getting married, life wives? Eat a bag of dicks.
Eat a bag of dicks.
No, I think you thought I had this already. I do not have this. This is
I'm
amazing.
glad.
Fuck this fucking day. I think I won't. This is all that I'm gonna say, and we can't say anything else. But the whole concept of the irony behind eating a bag of dicks for Heather is hilarious.
As soon as I saw something that said eat a bag of dicks, I'm like, I'd be remiss
Absolutely fucking would. My God.
That's totally perfect. That is insanely perfect. Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
so
Thank
mine
you,
says,
Jody.
well, I'm a doctor, so let's just assume I'm right.
I love that one too.
That's great.
So,
That's perfect.
but I'm so excited that you guys like yours, because I don't know if you remember, Ashley, but you had mentioned, oh, if I could get a goss like that.
Fuck this.
Yeah, you
fucking.
do, because don't you have one too, Heather? That's
What?
like this fucking day?
No, I don't have that one either.
Well, eat a bag of dicks is good.
Eat a bag of dicks is perfect.
Speaking of eating a bag of dicks, I know who I could tell to eat a bag of dicks, and that's that chick in that video.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she needs to eat like a bunch of dicks, apparently, because she hasn't had enough.
Let's delve in.
It required a double drink. Well, so I saw that video on TikTok, and then that's why I had to send it to you guys, because I was so outraged by that video. Like, for my first thought is this, and I started making a video about this on TikTok and my ADHD kicked in, is so says the white girl with pretty privilege.
Mm-hmm.
What neighborhood did you grow up in? Do you know what it's like I don't know why all these women are bitching about what? Do you know what it's like to walk down a sidewalk in a bad neighborhood and have men hit on you, whistle at you, catcall you, grab you? Like, she's like, my life is so easy being a woman. So what kind of privileged life have you lived?
Very
that you
privileged
think
one.
that?
And if your life is dedicated to a man, to serving your husband, to being his wife and servant, I will say, putting feminism aside for a minute, my husband died. I was in my 30s. And I was in a bereavement group where the youngest person was 10 years older than me. And the rest were 15 years and on up. And these women literally had no idea how to do anything other than, because they were all, housewives in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And they did not know, they were not breadwinners. They were not even income winners. And they or income gainers, whatever. And they had absolutely, what do I do now? What do I do now? Now, if their spouses did not leave them life insurance, what are they going to do? There were a lot of women saying, now what am I supposed to do? So
and they don't even have to die. They could just leave you for the younger woman.
Yeah.
They could just walk away from your ass and discard you. And
So
then if you don't have any if you don't have any like life skills or any like background in doing any kind of job, because you've just been like living off of men your whole life, you're signing up for, now I have to go be a desperate woman to get another man. And I'm sorry, bitches, but no, thank you. I'm like so much happier not needing another person, man, woman, or otherwise, to survive.
Well, but that is exactly my point, is she has no experience with these types of circumstances.
No.
So that's what I mean by her white pretty privilege.
Yep.
You're so young and naive about this situation and about life in general, where it's, and then there was another follow-up video that said, well, what about a woman who can't have children? But then it also goes to the point of like you just talked about, Jody, or let's say you live this perfect, happy white picket fence life, your children grow up, then what is your fucking purpose? Your husband leaves you for that young whore that's on OnlyFans, like she said, and you're getting old and wrinkly, and this perfect marriage that you thought, because your whole goal in life is to be a fucking wife and a mother. Like, what are you going to do then when he goes and looks for his new hot piece of ass because you're getting older? Or your children grow up, and then what are you going to do when there's no kids to take care of anymore?
She's just mad
Because
because
you can't have a
Chelsea Handler's
fucking
already
legacy.
fucking her man.
Yeah, you can't have, I mean, you can't have a fucking legacy if your kids are gone.
And let's go to the very beginning when she said, I don't know why women are crying because women have it so easy.
No, they fucking don't.
Okay, going back to what Ashley said, and she's this pretty little girl. Tell me, probably in her 20s, early 20s.
She's very young and naive. Yeah, clueless.
Okay, so when you're 40 and men start looking at 20-year-olds and not you, then what happens? And women have it so easy. Your fucking life experience is what? Is what? That women have it so easy. Have you been even in the workforce?
No,
she probably doesn't even own her own car.
She's probably likely, honestly, she's probably never had a job. And like, or maybe she had a babysitting job by her dad's, you know, business partner and his wife's kids. Like there's no, a person who hasn't had significant struggle is not going to fucking think that way. Like she's only looking through the one lens, and that is the lens of fucking white picket Jones's lens. That's the lens. She's like, everything's gonna be fine. My husband's gonna be long. We're both gonna live long, healthy lives together. We're gonna make babies, and then our kids are gonna, as soon as they graduate, they're gonna get married and then have babies. And so my job is to be mother and then grandmother, and everything's gonna be fucking perfect. And that's legacy.
And then what happens when, God forbid, he beats you?
Yep.
That never happens.
Well, and here's, and I can already hear the misogynistic victim shaming that a woman with that perspective would give to a woman like me. Well, you shouldn't have had your baby with that man then. Like,
I can't wait till she has a baby with that man. I cannot wait, because
and I'm sure
signing up for those men.
I am sure you did something to provoke him to be the way he was. If you were serving him the way that you're supposed to serve him.
Oh my God, don't even go there.
Fine.
Don't even fucking go there.
That's what I'm saying. That's what she's signing up for, is for pieces of shit like that are going to treat her exactly like that. And she,
bitch, you do what I say and it's all good.
Well, that's the thing, is here's the thing. You need to take care of all of these things. And then also I'm going to put on this expectation, the husband, I'm going to put on this expectation of how you need to keep yourself put together, how you need to look, how you need to fucking dress in order for me to have you on my arm. And then you need to get all these things done. And then how fucking dare you mess it up? Like if she makes a mistake, it's abuse. That is an abuse relationship.
And don't fucking gain weight when you have your babies. Don't gain anything more than that baby weight, and drop that shit, because you will look different. And that is not okay.
You know what's something that I was thinking about too, when I was like thinking about the entire thing, just beyond the relationship that she's talking about. She's so away from reality in her privileged life. Let me ask you, honey, who made and designed the clothes you're wearing right now? A woman? Oh, but see, we shouldn't be in the workforce. So, okay. And who are all of your favorite fucking makeup companies? And who owns and started those with their dream trying to be a boss babe? Women.
Like, but I'm sure that there's a man behind them, because women can't do shit and shouldn't be doing shit.
Well, and not even that's her perspective. What I'm saying is specifically is, if we take away every boss bitch in this world who was single and started a legacy, like, and like, what about even like, I don't know the entire history of Coco Chanel. Okay. But even if she, even like, and please, someone look it up and see if she's married, if she was married. I don't know enough about her, but like,
up right now.
she changed not only fashion, but makeup and skincare and like all of these things. Like, these are women that had dreams, and their legacy was something other and bigger than just being a fucking wife and a mother. And she changed the entire world of fashion. And like, how many other women are like that?
She was the mistress of some of the most influential men
Okay,
of her time.
fucking love it. She's
Good for her. Because you know, this little blonde dingbat in this video is, you know, gonna be the one that is Chelsea Handler's fucking maid in the future when she's has nobody left to live off of. So have
And
fun
you
with
know,
that.
even all these people who have made it with husbands and have been successful with husbands, because that is also possible to have kids and have a husband and be successful as a woman.
It's also possible to have kids and be with another woman and not ever have a man in your life ever.
Oh my God, Heather, now you're going to a whole totally different direction for this girl. I think you will make her mind explode if you talk about women with women.
Oh God. There are men out there that never want to be with men.
And then there's a whole group of us who have been with men, and it's almost killed us. And then
Right.
now we're single moms or just single women with no children. And like, you know, it's just the whole concept of anyone thinking that with how diverse this world is and all the different roles that are required, it's literally like saying there can only be one body part to make up the entire body. Like, there's everything functions differently. We require different types of women. So for her to say like my standard is the only fucking standard is so like just so naive.
Graphic. Yeah, it's dumb. And she's dumb, and she makes my eyes literally roll out of my head and onto the floor. I have to pick them up.
Well, to say something
Thinking
like
about her.
women trying to become men, you cannot stop doing it. Don't be it. Meaning, don't be successful. You can't be successful. Don't get into the workplace. Don't do these things. This is for a man. And I know that like men are threatened a lot of times by professional women, or strong women. When I went on a dating profile, I cannot tell you how many men, professional men, a psychologist, when I was in therapy, said, you shouldn't put psychologist on your profile. You should not put that your doctor. You should not say anything like that. Men do.
Mhm.
Why the fuck shouldn't women?
Mhm.
Why shouldn't women? If a man can't handle a strong professional woman, then I certainly don't want to be with them. Would you guys want to be with a man who can't handle you being strong?
No, I don't want to be with a bitch. No.
Well, and it's not even just that. Like, for example, okay, like, and this is a very like, and this was her fucking argument. Okay, I have to bring this up. Is in the next video, they're talking about, well, what happens when a woman can't have kids? And then she says, well, that's a very small minority. Actually, if she had any idea how many live births there are in comparison to pregnancy losses that are not like, and I'm not talking about abortions, I'm talking about miscarriages and stillbirths and complications. If she actually knew the number of those versus how many live births there are with healthy mom and baby, no, actually, it's not the minority. Like, infertility is actually, it's been in the news lately. Like, women are having less babies and like all kinds of crazy shit that she's unaware of. But my second point was this: my dad's on fucking disability. He can't work. He's had brain injuries. And like, my mom has to work. She's the breadwinner and she's brilliant. And she is like, she's a boss bitch.
Mm-hmm. So is
Like,
my mom.
But she would dismiss that too, right, as a minority. But then every time we add a minority on top of a minority on top of a minority, she's actually the minority.
She is the minority. That's what I'm like, is she just talking to try and be divisive? Does she just like trying to stir a pot? Like, because literally, I don't know anybody who thinks like her. I've never met anyone in my life.
I think she believes it.
She does. What's crazy is if you go read those comments, there are thousands of comments, I believe, of women that are agreeing with this.
I want to go back really quick, Ashley, because the statistic is 9% of men and 11% of women of reproductive age in the United States experience fertility problems.
That's
so it's not just the women. Hello.
No,
so if a man can't get the woman pregnant, then whose fault is that? No one's fault. I'm not saying it on my end, but according to her, if your husband can't get you pregnant, is that the flaw of the woman now?
The whole her entire fucking argument is garbage.
Yep.
Even if you break it down logically, like it's just fucking garbage.
You can't even play devil's advocate with that argument. It's so stupid. It's the biggest thing ever.
No, because it's so dumb, because like the reality of like even just the thought process of what she's saying is only a woman who has given up her voice and her desires to be anything outside of, and listen, and that's her. I just think I figured it out, kind of. She has no identity in who she is and only in the roles that she plays.
And if she knew anything about fucking anything, she'd be thanking badass boss bitches for her right to even have a fucking mouth to run publicly. So
Yep.
Zip it, lock it, and put it in your pocket if you want to be like back in the 19 fucking hundreds. 20s.
And the thing is, but that's a really, really, really good point, Heather, because the reason that she's on a fucking podcast.
Yep.
With men.
And maybe it was easy for her to get on that podcast, but if women didn't pave the way for her to be able to be on a podcast, because the way that she's talking, she should never be on that in the first place, be allowed on that.
Okay, yep. But you just completely disproved her entire point. Bitch, if that's your role, why the fuck are you on a podcast and not in the kitchen?
Barefoot, pregnant, shut the fuck up.
So wait, hold on. What is it then you're doing on social media? Because that would be considered a hobby, which could be considered a passion, which means that you're trying to leave something.
A legacy.
Trying to record and document something. So what is your legacy? So your legacy is not being a wife and a mother. It's about preaching your message and using your voice of what you believe in order to try and infiltrate the rest of the world and what women think. That's your legacy, bitch. And that's not being a mom or a mother. That's a creator. So you
drop
her whole fucking point.
Yep. She's a hypocrite.
Fucking mic drop right there. And I bet if you hit her with that, one, she would just be like, take a minute. And two, be like, my husband gave me permission.
Yep.
And then we'll just go back round and fucking round, because the simple fact that she's spending her time looking up online, researching about creating content and telling stories and what kind of products and like tools do I need to record this content. You're literally telling us that we can't do what you're doing because it's not defined the same fucking way. Mm-hmm. How much money have you made off your content? How much money when you set up a business license for you to create content that you have to write taxes off on with your fucking whatever they're called, like all of these like business self-incorporated LLC taxes, or is it in your fucking husband's name and is he cashing your checks? Because then we can talk about
Oh, I wish we could get her on this podcast, because those are fantastic points.
She would never.
Oh no. Be on a podcast with women that will, and because there were some women on this podcast, but they were, with all due respect, kind of I have a question. She could not handle 3 professional women saying exactly what Ashley said. Bitch, why are you here then? Why are you not in the kitchen?
Your fucking ass in the kitchen or folding laundry or changing fucking dirty diapers. What are you doing here?
And
This
if you
is what
are
women
married,
are working.
and if you are married, why the fuck are you not pregnant?
And
That's
yeah,
why I wonder if it's all for fucking show.
it is.
It
It is clickbait, controversial shit because
Mhm.
she's decided she wants her audience to be the misogynistic men that are getting slaughtered on social media. So she's pandering to them.
Yep.
And she is kind of getting a little bit of a woman following, but she's mostly appealing to misogynistic men.
Gross, pathetic, pitiful.
And the women that she is gaining, to me, in my opinion, are probably sadly being abused emotionally,
And don't even know.
mentally, yeah, and have no idea. And whether it's their family, father, and their mother's the exact same way, whether it's that or whether it's their spouse, either one. But a woman who is a strong and independent woman, again, this is just my opinion. You can have whatever you want to an extent, to a degree, whatever rational. You can have a husband, you can have a family, you can have a job. It's not easy being a woman. It is a lot harder. I believe that. However, it's not impossible. It's just harder because there are single dads. There are single dads in this world. Yes, there are. And it's not an easy thing. It's not easy to be a single parent. It's not easy to be a single parent that works 40 hours a week or any hours a week. And the alcohol, because I've had nothing to eat, is starting to kick in. And my train of thought went. Hit the station.
Bye. Well, and I was gonna say something that kind of stemmed off what you started to say, Jody.
Thank you.
That, where my brain
It's 8%
went.
alcohol. I can drink the whole fucking bottle.
No, you can't.
No, no, I can't.
No. But what I was gonna say is like I do value and appreciate traditional beliefs,
Two-parent household.
values. Like I truly honor and respect that. And if I were married and in a healthy relationship, okay, I would agree with many things as far as putting my family first, these things. However, I'm not going to depart from my passion to pursue things because that's a form of my fucking self-care. That's a form of like, and since I didn't have the option to be a stay-at-home mom with a man who loved me, honored me, and respected me, and I had to protect my child, like I had to become a boss bitch because there was no one to take care of us. And I found a lot of love and joy in that.
Mhm.
But Naya's first year of life, I was a stay-at-home mom and I fucking loved that too.
All of that gets to be part of your identity because we get to choose who the fuck we are as individual human beings in the world. Whatever our value system is, whatever works for us is fine. We're not hurting anybody else. We're not out here being like predators.
Stay in your own lane.
Like if you want to live your life this way, live your life this way. No one's gonna bother you. If you want to live your life another way, no one should fucking bother you. Don't go on there fucking goddamn with your microphone and start telling everybody that they need to live and be like you, because that's just not how the world is at all.
I have to ask you both because you both were married and I was married.
I wasn't married.
Okay, so you were in a relationship with him. So let me ask you, did you ever at any time think, I am going to give up my whole identity to be this person's person?
Which person? My ex-husband or?
Well, in your case,
my
your ex-husband,
abusive piece of shit. I was like, I will do whatever. I will give up my whole soul for that person. And that was dangerous. But that's an abusive relationship. Like my ex-husband, no, like when I was in college is when he and I got together, and then we got married 3 years later. sorry, right before I went to grad school. So my dreams, my identity, my pursuit of my meaning and purpose in life was always happening in that relationship. And at no point was I going to give that up. He knew well and good, because we've known each other for so long, that I was not interested in having kids. I raised his daughter for like 9 years when we were together. But there was never any discussion or any implication or any thought in my mind that I would be like, I will sacrifice parts of myself to be with this man. And that man knew it. And I mean, ultimately, so much so that I was like done with that marriage in the end, because I was starting to sacrifice parts of myself that I didn't want to anymore. And so I left, and that's where we're at. So no, I never had a thought cross my mind that I was going to give up pieces of myself when I was married, and I didn't have to, and he didn't think I should.
I like that. He didn't think I should. What about you, Ashley, when you were with your ex, even though you weren't married? Oh, you're muted.
Because I was never married, but what I was gonna say is no, and here's why, is because the household that I grew up in, even though it was very traditional, and listen, I'm also Hispanic too, and so we know what that culture is like the women are waiting on the men hand and foot in the Hispanic culture, and men are king. And so I grew up with a lot of those things, except for my parents' relationship. My dad always was like, you can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. They sent me off to fashion school with the dream of doing designing. And so that was already inherently in me. So when I got into other relationships, I was already doing the things that I was pursuing. And I was always, working on things. So no, there was never an expectation I was going to give up everything, because I didn't have parents telling me that.
When I met my husband, I was already working whatever and went back to school, and when I was with him, I got my degree, and he was never threatened. He never felt less. As a matter of fact, he was motivated. He went back to school to get his certified hypnotherapist, and because he was like, I overheard him telling my mom that I motivated him so much to go back, and he was never a school person, but to do something, and he was a certified hypnotherapist. And I heard him say how proud he was that I was doing this. And that's the kind of man that a strong woman, it's like, you should be proud of your woman, I think, for being an individual. There's an I, a we, and then there's, oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys. This alcohol is affecting me more than I thought. There's them, there's you, and then there's a we. So you both have your own identities, and then you have an identity together. And neither one is threatened by the other's identity, because it brings you up. It's not supposed to push the other person down. Being a therapist or being a psychologist is not supposed to push your partner down to, you're not supposed to be. We are still equals in a relationship. It's going to be 49, 51, 50. It's going to waver, but then there's give and take, but you feel like you are equal partners in any relationship, regardless of, there shouldn't be, the balance of power should be even. Sometimes it's a little more on one side, sometimes it's a little more on the other side, but it is a wash. And if you're in a relationship where you feel like, as a woman, the balance of power is you have 70 or 30%, something is not right in that relationship. You're muted.
And I feel like too, like what Ashley said, I think we were raised by men.
Yeah, strong parents
who instilled those values in us of my family really valued education and independence. The women, especially on my dad's side, were really independent. My dad has a brother and 3 sisters, and of his siblings, his brother's the only other one in his family that had kids. The women did not. So there's like a value system that I have like inherited in me also, or like kind of socialized into me, that is I will pursue what I want to pursue, my education, my career, my independence. Those things I'm going to value more than being like waiting on some man hand and foot, being like a baby making machine, or having kids ever. Like those were never gonna be, that was never gonna be me.
Did
And
it cross your mind ever?
So like no, I mean, even when I was a little girl, I wasn't the little girl that was like plain dress up in like wedding gowns and like wanting to find Prince Charming. No, I was obsessed with like the Wicked Witch of the West, because
I see you dressing up as Elvira.
I was the Wicked Witch of the West until 6th grade, every year for Halloween until 6th grade. Like I was obsessed with badass, powerful, kind of dangerous women. Like those were my kind of idols growing up. I didn't even like girls touching my hair when we were like sitting in 3rd grade and everyone's braiding each other's hair. I was like, don't fucking touch me. I was always very, very one on my own. And that meant that I was isolated a lot and bullied a lot. And there was a lot of like negative that kind of came with that. But I'm never like, I never regret who I am. Like never once did I want kids. Never once in my life did I think I was going to be a mother. And I'm not. And I'm glad I stuck to that value system. And that's the thing, like you could change people's beliefs about things by giving them facts and evidence and a different perspective, but values don't change. So like this woman on this little podcast video thing who's saying we should all be like her, like fine, like that's your value system, but guess what? You're not going to change other people's value system just because you believe like and think that way, and that all women should be that way. Value systems don't change. So you can get on your little podcast and you can yell and yell and yell and yell, but we're not going to convince her that she's wrong, and she's not going to convince us. So anyway, that's my little rant. Tequila rant.
I agree with that too. And the other thing is like, if we even talked about what are values, and like, can you quantify husband and child as a value system? And the other thing too is like, if your whole goal is to get into a relationship, because I didn't hear anything of actual importance on what she said. I didn't hear her say like, you know, it's so important to find a healthy relationship and to establish like all of this, to have this type of marriage. She wasn't even talking about a healthy, happy, loving marriage. She wasn't saying anything about that. It was about the accolades of having a husband, serving your husband and your baby daddy, and not your corporate boss. And then like, you know, those aren't fucking values. Like, if you want to talk about traditional Christian values, like whatever, or like just kindness values, or like Jewish values, those are values. They weren't fucking objects or things or roles. That's not a fucking value. That's a lifestyle, and you're demanding every other woman fit into your lifestyle. And if I get my fucking husband, I'm not quitting anything I'm doing now. Why can't I be and have fucking both?
And as single women that we are right now, I had my son, I graduated with my PhD, I got my license, I worked my career, I'm in my career, I raised my son by myself. Does that make me a, what did she call it? OnlyFans whore? Like, you can be a professional woman, raise kids or not. The OnlyFans whore, more power to those people making a lot of money on OnlyFans. I envy them that they do that. I could never, but because no one would pay for that. But
her argument's based on her value system. Her value system is like, yeah, she can't articulate that because she's a moron, but like her argument is based on this value system that is like traditional and probably religious based and just like a, very small, like it's that value system that's kind of driving this sort of like.
But here's the thing though, Heather, if somebody is able to support, if a single mom is able to support, or a married woman is able to support their family on OnlyFans.
Yeah, you can value
them.
Family. You can value traditional family, nuclear family structure. And at the same time, value sexual freedom and being able to whore yourself out or your feet out on OnlyFans. People can have all of these value systems in one identity and make it work for who they are in their one identity. And like to sort of push like a value system and a belief system based on that value system onto other people who have their own set of values in whatever order they prioritize those values and beliefs in whatever, like you're just asking for a number of people to be pissed at you, a number of people to agree with you, but nothing is actually changing. You're just running your mouth. Like you're not changing other people's value system and their kind of ideals.
No. Well, and she was talking about like Chelsea Handler and like, and then she went to like only women who are trying to be boss babes are whoring it out online. That's the only thing we're doing. But besides that is like, what if some of us, like our dream is like, I want to get married. I want to live in a beautiful house. I want to be a wife, but like, here's the thing. Okay. Are you saying that either one, there's something wrong with me, why I haven't been able to find a husband, or because I'm putting my child first, and because the men that I see in the world are predators, and as a single mom to a beautiful little girl, it terrifies me to think about trusting a man with my daughter, like because I was molested as a child. So like I'm putting my child safety first, and so like I haven't found a man I want to marry. So either there's something wrong with me, or I just go off and find the first man who shows me any fucking interest, because that's my goal in life, is to be a fucking wife, and I'll have your babies and I'll do what you say and be a good submissive wife. And I that happens all the fucking time. And so like inherently we just go back to her fucking white privilege and her deep-rooted misogyny of how if anything is not going right, it's the fucking woman's fault.
Yeah, because according to her, I'm not speaking for her, but just based on what she said, if you cannot find a husband, Ashley, that's on you, 100%, because there are, and someone brought up, in part 3 or whatever of this podcast, they said there's more women than men in this world. So then what? Well, then there's, what is it, polyamory or polygamy? Or women taking more than one man, or men taking more than one woman. I know that this podcast is Why Complain When You Can Whine, and I feel like I'm screwing up because the alcohol is like affecting me, but that's what this podcast is. So I'm apologizing, but I'm not. But so whatever it's called, polygamy, yeah, men taking more than one woman. So women should be okay with a man taking more than one woman, so that each woman has a spouse.
I mean, one time was adorable, but like 2 or 3 times later.
First
time. Jody, listen, we're laughing with you, but you think we're laughing at you because you won't know why until you watch the fucking replay.
We're not gonna tell you. It's just as good as Ashley spilling her drink on herself. It's that good. We're not even gonna tell you.
But I do have to say this: the first time, I legit thought it was me that heard it wrong.
But then I saw your face, Ashley, and I was like, no, we heard that. And then it was like 3 times later. And I was like, no.
What did I say?
You're gonna hear it. It's gonna be great. We're not gonna tell you. It's gonna be awesome.
Totally tell her because I kind of want her to see her reaction face.
That was amazing. That might be better than Ashley spilling.
It was. Can we
What
tell
was
her?
it?
You have to tell her.
Tell me.
Gonna drive her crazy. You know how obsessive she is.
You were using the plural of woman, and you meant to say woman, and you were saying women, and
More than one women.
more than one women. And and you did it like 3 times, and it was so
The
adorable.
women's. So that would be women's.
More than one women. I'm like,
More
nice.
than one women's is women's. I made it. That was good.
The best
And
shit.
probably nobody noticed, and now they're gonna go
Oh,
back.
no,
and
they
listen.
Oh no, they know
They
if they were,
noticed.
unless they're drinking as much as we're drinking.
No, they know.
I
that.
noticed.
They're
and I'm
supposed
almost
to
two margaritas in.
be. They're supposed to be at home listening to this with wine, so there's just as much wine as we have had, or just as much alcohol.
Well, that is what's exactly what happened. Is they were sitting there being like, and then they heard it the second time, and they looked they're like, how much fucking wine have I had to drink? And then they're gonna hear us cracking up, and then they'll be like, oh my god, I heard it too.
It happened. I'm gonna say only because I literally have had nothing to eat, so I did not think that this was going to affect me because it never does. But I usually have had food, so
That's okay.
Okay.
I mean, I think we proved our point with just dissembling that bitch's argument, and we ended up with talking about a women.
Hey, women.
But I want to go back to, if you guys didn't hear it, go back, re-listen, because Ashley, your point just sums it all up of what the fuck are you doing on a podcast, bitch? And why are you not home serving your man if that's your whole purpose in life is to serve the husband?
Man, I would
Not to
love
be a
to
boss.
serve a man if I could find a fucking man.
A good
That's
man.
worth serving.
Find me a fucking man and I'll be so submissive. I'm still gonna have my career, I'm still gonna do my shit. But like, find me a man to submit to and you'll get it. You'll get it from me. But until then, shut your face hole.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
So on that note,
I
I love being a woman.
I wouldn't have it any other way because it's all that I know.
That's another shirt we have to make. Then.
I had to get that in there, Jody.
Yeah.
A women.
Honestly, though, I took a women's studies class in 1992 during the riots in LA, and women were actually complaining that they couldn't do this and couldn't do that. And I think that women should try to do whatever the fuck they want to do. If they can't succeed because of their own shortcomings, that's one thing. But I don't think anything should stand in the way of a woman trying to do whatever the fuck she wants to do,
Whatever
as
you
long
want.
as it's not
Whatever you want.
illegal, immoral, unethical, or harms anyone.
Yep, fuck off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
I-
do.
Totally agree. I was laughing at first because I was making fun of you saying a women, and then you immediately came with I took a women's study class, and I was like, of course you fucking did.
Okay,
She
but that's what it
found
was
a way to
called.
say it. She found a way to say it.
Yep.
But it was called Women's Study. It really was. WOMEN. You guys, man, come on.
I love
Here
you.
for you.
WOMEN_S study. That's what it's called, Women's Studies.
You're adorable.
But yeah, women should be able to do whatever the fuck they want to do. as long as it's not illegal, immoral, unethical, or harms another person. Be who you are. Go for your degrees, your OnlyFans, whatever the fuck you want to do. Be a professional. If you want to serve someone.
We're not living in Iran, y'all. Like, and maybe she should go take a little trip over there and see how she feels about her misogynistic views in another country where they view her as a total fucking object who doesn't deserve to speak.
You know what's kind of funny though? I just thought about this too. A misogynist, this girl is so pretty. And so she's going to say this stuff so that she has all sorts of men that want her.
She's pandering to the misogynists.
She, in a way, it's like pimping yourself out.
Like on OnlyFans, she could have an OnlyFans page just called "Pimping Myself Out to the Misogynists."
Yeah, and it's under the guise of I'm serving men, and that's what I'm supposed to do.
Because isn't that just as backwards as she is? Like she's like, oh, they're like OnlyFans whores, and I'm like,
but I mean, we could disprove, don't get me going down that rabbit hole, because we could disprove anything she fucking says with what she's said, like, and what she's actually doing, because you're talking about, like Heather just said, OnlyFans, and yet you're on TikTok. And like, I would love to look up her personal TikTok profile, because if she has a lot of followers and she has a lot of views, and let's say she signed up for the creator beta fund, and she is getting all these likes, these clicks, these follows, these comments that are paying her for these misogynistic views, which sounds like fucking OnlyFans to me.
Yeah, she a hoe. She a big old fucking hoe.
Fucking TikTok hoe now, like whore, whatever. Well, it's the same fucking thing. And just because you're wearing, you look hot and sexy like the dirty teacher, and so these men are following you because they're turned on by the way like your face looks, and then these like very proper clothing, like that's another fetish that we could talk about. And so you know, like the whole fucking thing, like you're doing exactly what you're beating down other women for, so shut the fuck up and sit down, please.
She looks like a tablecloth with like a doily.
I'm telling you.
A tablecloth?
Like an 80s tablecloth. That's what she wears. Doilies and shit.
Yeah. With that being said, thanks for my fuck this fucking day cup, Jody.
Thanks for my eat a bag of dicks cup, Jody. It's the best.
And hey, well, I'm a doctor, so let's just assume I'm right. And even if that says women's, we're going to assume that I'm right.
She's right anyway.
I love being a woman.
So guys, remember there's a little bell up in the corner to notify you time we post a video. Subscribe, like. We are on Spotify, Amazon, Google, Apple, iHeartRadio, anywhere almost that podcasts are podcasted. Again, subscribe, like. We're going to have guests. Eventually we have them lined up. And if you have suggestions for wine cups, wine glasses, wine in general, at this point, any kind of alcohol in general, you have questions, comments, put them below. You can email us on wcwycw1@gmail.com. And Ashley, do you want to say anything about your community? And Ashley has had nothing to drink today.
No. The community is by invite only right now. We'll have a larger launch in the future, but yeah, so if you're subscribed to my text community, then that's where the invites are at. So you'd have to go to lovingsingle army.co and you can get on the waiting list to get an invite to that. Long story short.
Heather, anything from you?
No.
So thank you guys and cheers.
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 Woo. Cinco de Drinko.